What's going on out there, everybody? Welcome back to the Dude Nurse Show. Got a couple things on my mind. With everything going on in the world, there's lots on my mind. But today, I saw a clip from one of the Canadian Parliament people. I'm not really sure about Canadian politics or whatever, but based on what she said, I think she's like our equivalent of AOC, that moron out of New York. She basically gave this pithy speech regarding the truckers and talking about the honk honk from their horns, that it was an acronym for Heil Hitler. I'm not making this up. I'm going to try to find a clip and put it down in the description below so you could see this idiocy for yourself. But I mean, very rarely am I at a loss for words. But this really kind of took took me off my feet. First of all, she doesn't understand what the definition of an acronym is. Second of all, so the honk honk, that's a freaking sound that's made by the horns of the truckers. Okay, so that whole honk honk equals Heil Hitler, it was completely fabricated and manufactured in her feeble mind. And I'm literally still like blown away from this. I've seen this on some other talk shows, and everybody else pretty much has the same reaction as me, and it's what the actual fuck is going on here. Second of all, you cannot help but recognize the irony in what she said. Okay, so think back to excuse me, who Adolf Hitler was, right? He was this crazy lunatic maniac that was all about what? Government control, no rights for the people, bow, yield, kneel, all this other kind of crap. He wanted to take over the whole world. He wanted to exterminate, entire races and ethnicities of people because, they weren't pure or whatever the hell his crazy reason was. But basically, he was a person who wanted the government to be in control and the citizens to do what the fudge they were told. So now look at what's going on in Canada. The government wants to be in control and they want the citizens to do what they're told. So this lady, making this comparison to the truckers as having any kind of connection to Adolf Hitler is just, I can't even think of a word for the ignorance and the stupidity that was manifested when she opened her trap. She called it vitriolic or the vitriol. I think she said surrounding the truckers and the things that they're doing, and I'm just like, honk honk equals Heil Hitler. and again, like I said, she had called it an acronym. Anyway, I haven't seen anything that the truckers are doing. I haven't heard about any buildings being burned down, police officers being beaten. Honestly, what I've seen from the Canadian citizens who disagree, they've accused them of being disrespectful because the truckers are way up here and they're talking down to people here. Well, 18-wheelers are huge. Okay, so you're talking to someone, yeah, they're going to be below you in terms of where you are. But that doesn't mean that they're talking to you because you're beneath them. You are like literally lower than them, not in some sort of social class or social status. The other thing too was that people are complaining about, oh, traffic is worse, and there's more noise, and I mean, yeah, I get it. That sucks. I mean, I might have some problems with it, but on a deeper level, I would have bigger problems with my freedoms being encroached upon by the government, which, I'm from Texas. I don't know if this gave it away, but hook 'em horns, die hard Longhorn, UT alumni. Anyway, I digress. It's, the same things are happening here in America. We had 8 years of Obama. Now we've got 4 years. Well, hopefully we won't have 4 years of Joe Biden. Hopefully his clear mental deficits will just take their toll. But we had 8 years of Barack Obama who tried his damnedest to expand the government, and folks, that is socialism right there. And socialism is very close. They're neighbors with communism. If you look at, I've spent a lot of time in South America. I go to Colombia a lot. I've been to Brazil, Colombia, a couple of other places. If you look at Venezuela, Venezuela's economy, Jesus Christ, like a Venezuelan peso, it's not even worth bending over to pick it up. That's what socialism will do for your economy. Look at Cuba. Look at some of the other socialist countries, communist. Look at China, their citizens, and look at North Korea. It's god awful. This indoctrination, and what I've seen as a healthcare professional, as a nurse practitioner, what I've seen when I've gone to these places talking about the healthcare, that they espouse as being, oh, universal healthcare, everyone's got healthcare, everyone. Healthcare is a right. It's this and that and the other. Well, that's a discussion for another time. But when you go down there, it's not that black and white. It's not as simple as, oh, you have universal healthcare, everything is covered, and here's some sunshine and rainbows to go along with it. I've talked to doctors, I've talked to nurses, I've talked to citizens in Colombia, and they have a really good, a phenomenal healthcare system. It's one of the best in all of Latin America. I'm speaking specifically more for like Medellin, Colombia. I've spent most of my time in Medellin. I've been to a few other places, but Medellin is where I prefer to go visit the most. And their healthcare is great, don't get me wrong, but there's a whole lot of people that need certain things. They don't have them, and they can't get them. So it's not as black and white as every free healthcare for all. That is whoever came up with that, here in the U.S. clearly does not understand foreign healthcare policy, and they need to be slapped in the face with a stethoscope or something. That might not hurt too much. Well, anyway, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so when you're looking at what the government's doing, invoking the martial law and all of these kind of things, what is it that they're doing that is so abhorrent that martial law needs to be invoked? They are engaging in true peaceful protesting, unlike these BLM and Antifa assholes. When things start getting burned down, rioting, all of that stuff. How much have you heard about that on the news in Canada? And matter of fact, around the world, Italy, Austria, all these places. We stand with Canada. There's not any like real violence. Does somebody get in a tussle? Yeah, sure, but I haven't seen one picture, one news clip of a burning building, or downtown Ottawa or Toronto or Alberta or wherever, in flames because the protesters decided to destroy their own. The protesters decided to destroy their own city. It really makes me sick that these poor Canadian truckers and Canadians for that matter are being treated this way, and we better wake up, America, because that could definitely be our very near future. In fact, I would argue that we are right there on the cusp now. We've got an individual in office who has some clear mental defects. His number two, and I'm not saying that just because I think she's a piece of crap. Boom, 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 boom. See what I did there? Kamala Harris. She is just as big of an embarrassment as Biden is. Biden has shown weakness, and Putin has smelled it. China smells it. North Korea smells it. Iran, those guys, they all smell it. That the fear and the chum is in the water. And you think, well, that's in Canada, that's over here. No. With today's technology, the world is not as big of a place as it used to be. The size hasn't changed really, but the world has gotten closer together. You can be on a plane, you can be, wherever the hell you want to be within a matter of hours. 6-8 hours, you can pretty much be anywhere you want. I know I fly from Houston to Miami. It's about 2 hours 45 minutes. I get to Miami, and I fly from Miami to Medellin. It's 3 hours. So I'm on a whole other continent in 5 hours ish. So the world is shrank in terms of how close we are to one another. And the reason I say that is because you think, well, Russia and Ukraine, and what does that have to do with this, and what does it have to do with that? And I'm not saying that, we need to go over there and, get in Ukraine's business. And, I think oftentimes as Americans, we try to do that sometimes a little too much. But at the same time, we have allies over there that are depending on us. There's a lot at stake, when you have a person who's capable of. And Russia is no slouch, and Vladimir Putin is no dummy. When he saw the absolute debacle that Joe Biden and his administration put forth for the Afghanistan, that was absolutely disgusting. And so I think it shows us, and still continues to show us, as weak. Putin knows that Biden is an incompetent. He knows his administration is incompetent. He knows his vice president is incompetent. So, it wouldn't take that much for at least a good majority of the world to be at war. And we're seeing all of these things, all of these mandates and all of these things. This is nothing more than government control. I'm vaccinated and I got the booster, but you know what? It was my choice. Nobody, I'm fortunate, I'm self-employed, but even still, nobody forced me to get it, and I wouldn't let anybody force me to get it. But again, it was my choice, to get it. And then, when people say, oh, these same idiots, way back when, that were saying, well, you had a choice to get another job. You had a choice to not work here. That's bullshit. That's like saying, okay, well, one of your family members has to die. You get to choose which one. Say, well, he had a choice. He chose his wife instead of his kids. That's BS. It's not a choice. The government is trying to tell you what you need to put in your body to keep other people safe. How is it my job to keep you safe? It's your job. I always ask people, because here in Texas, we've had the mask mandate has been lifted, for quite some time. We were able to kind of get back to normal relatively quickly here in the state of Texas. And so, but I would still, run around and, because I travel and encounter people, and sometimes I forget, I don't care to wear the mask. I don't think it's really that effective. I mean, it's for the flu, sure, but I mean, if it's airborne, it's not doing anything. But again, whole other discussion. And people would, I was on a tram, going to a different gate at Dallas Fort Worth Airport, and there was this couple, and they were just, I was drinking coffee, and I had my mask on. I was behind the TSA, but I was drinking coffee, and they were, and they were saying all these things, and I was like, finally I said what? I was like, what the hell is your problem? And the girl, she was just like, I can't believe you, I just can't even deal with you. And I was like, I'm drinking something, you idiot. Leave me alone, So then finally, after a couple words were exchanged, I asked him, I said, does your mask work? Well, yeah. Well, then what are you worried about? Leave me the hell alone, okay? I wasn't, an outright defiance of the mandate. I was actively drinking something, So it was just ridiculous. But these mandates, choosing whether or not to give up your livelihood to be able to feed your family and all of these things, or take a jab, which some people view as a medical experiment, or and I'm not going to debate that now. I mean, we can later. Or some people don't believe that they work, or whatever. I believe and know vaccines do work, but again, as a healthcare professional, it's not my job to make you get a vaccine. It's my job to give you the information and let you make the choice, not me. And again, where does it end? Today I can tell you what you have to have in terms of vaccinations. Well, then tomorrow I'm telling you that now, yes, you're going to be a part of this clinical trial for this new cancer drug, and you're going to have to take it. I mean, it's like, it's where does it end? Going back to that idiot from Canada, her Hitler reference, and which of course Hitler, Holocaust. It's like Joseph Mengele didn't give people a choice. He mandated that, hey, we're going to inject you with all kinds of horrible stuff. You're an identical twin. I'm going to saw a piece of your flesh off just to see if your identical twin can feel it. He was a sick bastard. And this is people think, oh my God, well that could never happen again. That is one of the most ignorant statements that I hear about things, when people say, oh, well, that would never happen again. Oh, that can't happen again. You are an absolute moron if you feel that way. Because if you think about it, Hitler didn't come in, and these dictators and all of these horrible people, he didn't march in, Austria and Germany and just start taking over. He was elected. He came in with, he was very tactful. He was very clandestine in the way that he did it. First, he's like, all right, we're going to do great. We're going to improve the economy, and we're going to do this. But in order for me to do that, I think all of you guys should give up all your weapons. You don't need them. You don't need them. You don't need, they didn't have AR-15s then, but does that sound familiar? You don't need your AR-15s. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s. That moron Beto O'Rourke, who, by the way, flip-flopped. Joe Biden was going to take our AR-14s or 16s. I don't know what his dumbass said. They're telling you don't need it. And of course, because they don't want you to have it. You cannot create a nation of doers and worker bees and slaves, esclavos, if they have the means to fight back. So of course they want to take our AR-15s, right? So Hitler said, yeah, we're going to take, your M1 Garands or, whatever they had back then. Glock wasn't around, which, Glock's Austrian. But anyway, he didn't, he started, okay, now on the news, I think you need to listen to this. This is better for us as a society. Oh, and all the books in the library that talk about this, and this, we're gonna get rid of those. You don't need those. So, that's how it starts. The government comes in and starts trying to tell you what is best for you. When you and we are the ones that elected them to work for us, not to tell us what they think we should do. Or what we have to do, to tell me that I'm now responsible for the health of my neighbor. That's absolutely ridiculous. His health or her health doesn't have jack shit to do with me. I'm responsible for me and me alone and my family. So, a lot of people see that as, well, that's very selfish, but it's, there are certain people, again, they may have certain objections, or they'd be like, what, I don't trust what's in the stuff. I don't want it. Maybe let's let it be around a little bit longer, or whatever the case may be. Everything that the government has said so far, they haven't been right about. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Oh, I'm sorry, did you say 2 weeks or 2.5 years? Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you said. And, have we flattened the curve? I mean, a good majority of the population is vaccinated, but you still have these mandatory lockdowns and quarantines and stuff in different parts of the world. Every time a new variant pops up, the whole world just freezes and pauses, and I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, And again, I'm in favor of vaccinations, but I'm not in favor of anything that I don't choose to get for myself. You're right. We always have a choice. Do either get it or don't. That should be the end of it. My livelihood, my ability to provide for my family should not be contingent upon me making a decision that I strongly and vehemently disagree with. I'm concerned that it could kill me. It's absolutely just ludicrous. But the government wants you to just yes a massa. They tell you to jump. They don't want you to ask why. They want you to, how high, massa? That's what they want. And the other sad reality about all this is again, I hear people say all the time, well, that's in Canada. Fucking Canada's just, they're our neighbors to the north. So, it's not like, like I said, it's like, oh, well, it's, this isn't happening in another galaxy. This is happening right here. And, these poor people are, their livelihoods are already altered. Some of them destroyed, because while they're doing these protests, they're not out making money. These GoFundMe type assholes blocked that money. They can they can track down who sent money to the truckers, but we still can't see Ghislaine or Jill Zane, however the hell you say her name, Maxwell. We can't see her client list. Seems pretty interesting to me. And people were allowed to, like that moron in Wisconsin that mowed through a crowd of innocent people, killed women, children. They were trying to allow him, GoFundMe and all this other kind of stuff. I think they blocked it, but I mean, still, and they were arguing, oh, that's racist, because he's black and blah blah blah. No, because he's a piece of shit who just happens to be black. And I feel comfortable saying that. That's not racist. Anyone can be a piece of shit. They can be a Canadian piece of shit, a Mexican piece of shit, a white piece of shit. You know, anybody can be a piece of shit. Their color of their skin has nothing to do with it. In this case, the guy's just a piece of shit. So, you know, the government is so phenomenal at telling you what you should do when they should be worrying about what they should do for us. You know, we are the ones, like as I said, we literally pay their salary. We elected them. I didn't elect Joe Biden, but some people, maybe it wasn't their best day, elected Joe Biden and his administration, you know, to do what they thought was best for the country at the time. But my point to all this is that I think, you know, one, going back to what that moron said in Canada, that's just absolutely disgusting. I mean, to compare anything that these truckers are doing, to even mention them in the same paragraph, the same book as Adolf Hitler, I mean, that's just deplorable. It just shows the length, and I would characterize, you know, her definitely on the left, like, you know, what we have here in the U.S. It just goes to show you the length at which the left will go to try and make a point. They will say and make baseless, factless claims, and it's, I don't even think anymore that they believe their own bullshit. You know, it's like that mayor in New York City started just a few days ago started spouting off about how the press was racist and how many black people are in the press and all this other kind of stuff. You know, bullshit, man. Enough of the race card, people. Okay, enough of the race card. But we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna save that for another discussion. I just wanted to mention, you know, this video that I heard, and I mean, I was literally flabbergasted. I'll be interested to see how this kind of plays out. If anybody's even gonna say anything and say, you know, hey, that is you're pretty far off base there, you know, and you might want to seek some psychiatric help, not to mention learn what an acronym is, and number 3, pick up a history book. Just saying. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate it. Hope y'all are safe. Hope everything's going great for y'all this new year. Any questions, comments, concerns, disagreements? I love disagreements. I put invitations out all the time for people to come on my podcast, which they switched over the server or something, I don't know, but it should be back up in a day or two. But I mean, I encourage anyone who wants to come on and have a fruitful discussion. Let me know. Thanks, guys.